Amy, thanks for coming on. I didn't know where else to start it. Amy, well, thank you for coming on at 9:15 at night. I do appreciate you've got work in the morning as well.
I do.
But I do think I do really think you're valued from what I've seen of you and followed you on LinkedIn. But do you want to give us a bit of an intro of how you ended up becoming Amy Archibald, the recruiter?
It was by accident. No, I have only been in the oil and gas industry for a wee short time. It's literally been, I think, about 3.5 years now. So I have been self-employed my whole life. I'm a jack of a few different trades, but COVID hit me bad, really bad. It hit my businesses bad. And it was basically sink or swim. So I decided that I would try and aim for a job in the oil and gas industry. No experience, terrible with computers, spreadsheets is my nemesis. I thought I'm just going to wing it because that's how I live by the seat of my pants, the seam of my pants kind of thing. So I started applying for jobs. I did get knockbacks though, because on paper I had no experience. But luckily enough, I had a pal that worked previously at a big oil company, and she put my CV in for me for an admin job. And I literally, as soon as my CV was put in, I got a call that day and had an interview the very next day. So I actually started off as an administrator in one of the big companies. And yeah, it all kind of snowballed through there. It was a bit of a revolving door at this company. There was a lot of staff was coming and going. And it ended up at one point they'd like 3 recruiters, and this is a big service company.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just kind of got thrown in at the deep end, no training, nothing, just help out basically. And that was me. Picked up the phone, started phoning folk. Didn't even ken foot search they were needing for foot roles. Like I literally was winging it. I did pick it up quite quickly though. So that's how my journey started in the oil and gas and the recruitment. So yeah, I literally just winged it. I did wing it, but I do.
At least you're honest.
Oh, I am.
That's like,
I literally
to be
wing
fair,
it
that's like
every day.
75% of the industry anyway.
I fit you see is fit you get, basically. But I do hear the gift of the gab. I have worked with the public pretty much my whole life. So me picking up the phone and phoning contractors and stuff like was never an issue. And yeah, I've exceeded every expectation. You would say I've climbed the ladder quite quickly. So
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt this show, and I really hope you're enjoying it. One thing I'm going to ask you, if you're listening to it and you're not liking, following, or subscribing to it, could I ask a massive favour that you do? It really helps the show, it helps me bring in more people, and it helps me get more stories out there, which in favour brings more stories back in. Let's get back to it. Yeah, I didn't realise you were only in it for 3.5 years, because I feel like you have been on the scene for a wee while. I think when I
yeah.
first reached out to you, one of the things that I noticed, which I thought was a really good shout actually, was your videos. Like I don't think I'd ever seen that for recruitment before, but what gave you the idea to go down that route?
So, when I first set up my LinkedIn page and started cruising through LinkedIn, obviously I was on Facebook, I was on other socials. Prior to me, being in the oil and gas industry, I was a hairdresser initially, and I stopped that when I had my kids. And I started making wedding cakes. And my business ended up being quite big. Had a lot of my wedding cakes featured in bridal magazines and stuff like that. And I was known for making sugar flowers, like really expensive, big fancy cakes. I actually made a big fancy cake for one of the Aberdeen players for his wedding. So I started doing night schools. I started traveling up and doing the country, doing seminars and classes and stuff like that, and teaching folks. So when we was doing the night schools, we had a whole camera set up. So I was literally live teaching 20 students at the same time on video how to make sugar flowers and how to make all these different cakes. So being in front of the camera and basically putting myself out there and advertising myself wasn't something that was new to me. Do you know what I mean? I mean, and
No.
I'd went through LinkedIn and I was like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh my God, this place is needing an absolute shake up because it's just full of dinosaurs and it's just, and I was like, right. So I said to my boss, I was like, right, would you get these roles filled? Would you mind if I done a video? And luckily for me, my boss, Craig and Laura at Granite were like, oh my God, if you want to do a video, go and do a video. So that's how it started. And I was like, hello, I have these roles. Are you available? And it literally just took off. So
Yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, fit a better way to advertise your roles is to put yourself out there and be like, right, I've got this roles, files available, send me your CV and I'll give you a phone. And it was literally the success rate for doing the videos was 80 to 90% of the time, if this clients was coming in with these roles to us, we were filling them because we were so out there because the videos was getting shared. And if it wasn't just followers that I had on LinkedIn, folk would start like sharing them. So they were just kind of like spreading out all over the place. So it was definitely a game changer. I was just doing what I was used to doing. So I didn't think it was on how out the order, ken. But Abdi's like, oh, the videos. Then other folks started doing it. And I was just like, I'll take that as a compliment. They're obviously not as good as mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously.
Obviously, eh?
but you started a bit of a thing. I think it was at Granite as well because there was a few other girls doing it as well, weren't they? I mean, yeah. I honestly I thought it was
Yeah.
brilliant. I'd not seen something like that before, so when I seen it, like even though I wasn't even applying to the jobs, I thought fair play to you for putting yourself out there because majority of recruitment companies, some of them you never see, obviously. So I thought it was quite it was a more personal touch in it. Maybe something the industry needed
Yeah.
more of.
I think so. I think it's good for folk to see the videos because it's not just a recruiter at the end of the phone. Like once folks start watching your videos, they feel a bit more connected with you, and it is a bit more personable. Certainly, when I was at Granite, when I was building my team, one of the first questions I would ask folk when I was interviewing was how do you feel about social media? Are you comfortable in front of the camera? Would you do some videos? Totally fine if they didn't want to do it. We did have one recruiter that wasn't keen on doing the videos, so we obviously picked that up for her. But most of them had seen the videos anyway, so they knew that that was kind of part of the job description. Because at the end of the day, far we are moving in now, we the generations and online and stuff it is more videos. You've got influencers out there doing videos, making livings off of doing videos. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it only seems right to try and bring LinkedIn a bit more into the future, I feel. Here, but don't get me wrong, nae Abdi likes the videos, and that's okay. It's horses for courses. If you didn't like it, just move on. Move
Aye.
on. Maybe you're not wanting a job, Fema, but that's all right. There'll be somebody else that wants a job, Ken.
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that because that's the other problem with social media though. It's really easy to put your tuppence worth in even if it's no needed. Have you had much shite
Oh,
for it?
very much so. Aye.
Have you?
Yes, I had. I've had loads. I've had absolutely loads. There has been. I mean, I'm sure some folk have seen some of the posts that was put on LinkedIn and Facebook for a very disgruntled contractor who I had history with, but it was our duties Indian. Who I didn't realise was secretly in my group chat, which did cause a barrage of abuse, but probably about 80% of the comments folk was very much in my favour. But that's one of the things is like when you put yourself out there, you kind of expect that everybody's going to like fit your doing. You kind of expect that everybody's going to understand what you're doing. You do hate thick skin. You've got to hate extremely thick skin. And for me, I literally have. See all that negative comments, literally I'll look at them and I'm like, oh aye. So you're sending that negative comment, you're sat at home nae working. We can why, delete.
Yep. Fair enough. I've
And
not got much
that's
else
it.
to
So
say.
you just,
Yeah.
aye, well, you just take a good with the bad, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. Just like me, Abdi's my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But if you like Fit a D and you appreciate Fit a D and you want to work with me, and you're going to be reliable, and I can phone you, and if you're available, I can put you away, and I can that I can put you offshore, and there's not going to be any issues. I'll keep you busy the hell shutdown season. I
Mm.
will do my utmost to keep you busy. For me, respect is a massive thing, and I do have a lot of respect for the guys. I mean, like literally, my guys that I work with a lot, they're brand new. Then a lot of them will actually stick up for me when you get like that nasty comments on posts and all the rest of it. But kid, you will get it, and that's fine. And I just take it on the chin. Doesn't bother me. I've been called a lot worse, I can assure you.
What do you think separates Jamie from other recruiters? Because like I've obviously I've followed you on LinkedIn for the last few years, and I've noticed you're obviously doing something right because you've gone through a couple of positions and they've kind of got senior. What do you think is separating you from others from kind of getting you to that place that where you are now?
Um, for me, I'm quite an empathetic person. With regards to my team round about me, with regards to the guys that I work with. Um, for example, with the contractors, the ad hoc guys, I understand that they're ad hoc, they're not in a contract, they didn't get money from their net home. I understand that they didn't ken when their next pay is gonna come in. So that can it can be unnerving for them. I've been there. I've been in that situation. I've been in that situation where I didn't even have enough money in my purse for a loaf of bread. So
Mm.
I get it. So for me, with all these ad hoc contractors, the minute I've got them out on a trip, I'm always trying to find them another trip for when they get home once they've done their time at home. Because I get it. I understand how unsettling that can be, and I obviously put my life experiences. Ken, I've never been spoon fed nothing. I've had to graft
Mm.
all my life, so I totally understand it. With regards to my teams that I work with, I have been in companies where it has been quite toxic. I've had toxic leadership, and it is so demoralizing. There's nothing worse than getting up in the morning and they wanting to go to your work. So for me, that again was another life lesson. And I was vowed that I would never ever be that manager or that team lead that was the toxic one. Like, do you know what I mean? I want my
Aye.
team to feel appreciated. I want them to enjoy coming to their work. I want them to learn loads. Like, I want to, whatever I try and instill in this industry, because I try to make a difference. I want to pass that on to the younger ones so that they can then do it as well. And at the end of the day, you're only as good as your team that's underneath you. And if you haven't got the respect of that team, then you're in a losing battle. Whereas if you can be somebody's friend, also their boss, and make work fun, you've got no idea how far that team will push themselves and how great you can make a workplace and how big and successful you can make it. I know that some folk are like, yeah, it's a boss, that's it. I'm the boss. What I say goes. And I respect that. That's their work ethic and that's how they do things. That's not how I work. And what I've done's worked for me so far, and I'll continue at in my career in the oil and the gas.
No, I'm with you on that as well. I quite like that form of leadership. I think it is a bit. I know you were speaking before we came in, the older generation and stuff, how they are, the tougher grafted and stuff like that. But there was some things like that that maybe aren't missed so much, especially now. So especially
Hmm.
that I'm the boss and this is how it goes kind of thing. So I do like that kind of more proactive teamwork kind
Hmm.
of approach. Like the company I work for now, actually, they don't send out like a main supervisor or anything. You're all at the same level, and you kind of all do you all fill in, so to speak. And I think it works that kind of mindset because it doesn't make anyone feel belittled, so to speak, or anything like that. And I think it's done them really well from
Hmm.
my experience anyway. But
Definitely.
I I have one big question for you because I've been asked it quite a lot more, and that's why I thought I'd bring you on because I've seen you comment on I think it was one of the TikTok things up. I think people asking about how you get on, blah 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 blah. How do you get offshore as a new start?
I completely honest with you, it isn't easy. It is extremely difficult to get green hands offshore. I've had two green hands this year. Just two. It's a lot easier to get a green hand offshore if they've got an actual trade. So if they are a sparky, a plater, a pipe fitter, it's a lot easier to get somebody offshore if they've got that actual trade. For me, it's always an achievement to get somebody off, but I feel like in this industry, there's a lot of folk that's coming to the retirement age in the industry, and the numbers are dwindling. I feel personally that it should be mandatory that these companies tick on green hands, whether it be maybe 5 at each different trade every year. I think it should be made mandatory that these guys get the chance offshore, because I tell you, every green hand that I've gotten offshore has excelled. They're continuing to work offshore. My green hand my latest scene just went out. He's just came for a 3-week trip, and he was as keen as a bean. Honestly, he was as keen as a bean. And the construction manager actually had gone out to the platform as well, and they've kept him on.
Brilliant.
So he's gonna back out again. So, but I do feel like there's a lot of these guys that are eager to get offshore and they just want to go out and graft. But the companies are like, oh, well, he's got no experience. And I'm like, well, how do they get this experience if you want to give them that chance? So I definitely feel like it should be made to be mandatory that each company has to take on X amount of green hands every year to replenish the guys that are retiring, that's done with the oil industry now, and just to put fresh blood out there, because it's the industry needs it. Ken, they really, really need it, and these guys just need that one chance. And for me to get green hands off, I have to jump through a lot of loops and I have to pull a lot of favors. And it's not easy. And I will literally hold their hand the hell way through. I will help them with courses. If my green hand's just done this connected competence course, it's just going to be the new thing. I put him forward for that. I'm there on the end of the phone. They can WhatsApp me if there's anything that they're struggling with, but it's extremely difficult. And I feel like that is a loophole in this industry that needs to change. Something needs to be done about it, because it's a lot of guys get offshore because they maybe ken somebody that's maybe offshore already and they'll get recommended. Do you know what I mean? But they need to be changing all this, because I do believe there's still loads of oil out there. There's loads of oil out there. So the oil and gas could continue as long as somebody sorts out this government situation.
We'll not go down that route. But one thing,
We'll definitely go down that
we'll
route.
be here for ages.
I know. I think there's enough pressure is being put on them, because obviously the wind hasn't taken off as much as they thought it was going to. I think if enough pressure is put on them, then we will be allowed to drill in the North Sea again. I do believe that. I honestly do believe that. I feel it in my waters. So we just need to keep going. But literally, I do feel like the companies need to, mandatory, they need to take X amount of green hands offshore each year. I don't ken how we could put that into place. Like, I don't ken if you should be writing a petition. Every client I go out and say to them, you need to bring green hands in.
All right.
You need to bring green hands in. Do you know what I mean? So I'm pushing, I'm trying. I say it to Abdi, and I managed to get a 2-3 off every year. 2-3 off every year is better than none.
None.
Is how I see it.
100%.
But I would like it to be 10 or 20. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's one of them though, isn't it? I think what's the average age, when you go into these teleports now? I mean, it's like, as you said, it's the older guard. And the other thing is these boys, albeit that they are dinosaurs and stuff like that, and I'm not saying that in a nasty way, they've got so much experience, both in life, both in the field, and that's where you want to send like an 18, 19, 20-year-old out to get like proper blooded in, should we say.
Exactly.
and proper worked in, and with their kind of, should we say, persuasion that they carry a bit more of. And I think it'll do them a world of good. But the problem is, and it's been like that for a good while, there's just not enough younger lads going offshore. I
Mm-hmm.
think and it's
Yeah.
a shame. It is a shame because it's done me a world of good. I will say that. It's done me a world of good. I've learned an awful lot from it, and I've taken an awful lot from it as well, and appreciate the older boys that have kind of shown us the ropes. But
Yeah.
how much harder has it been this last year in recruitment?
Oh, it's been a nightmare.
Aye.
It has been a nightmare. Um, Obviously shutdowns. We knew this year was going to be a tough year. It seems to happen, doesn't it? It's like every 5 years there seems to be a bit of a slog, a bit of a recession where everything slows down and then it picks up again. We knew this year was going to be tough. Um, Shutdowns happened way later this year, like way later. They're not lasting as long as what they normally would as well. Um, they are projecting a busier year next year. Thankfully, it has it has been tough this year because all the guys that obviously I've worked with have been desperate for work. And there's nothing worse than when you have to phone them and say, I've literally got nothing in for you. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, it's I guess because obviously I have moved company this year, so I didn't really get back. I didn't start again till the end of March. So January, February, March, I was on garden leave, so I had no clue if it was happening then. And then obviously I've had a busy time building up the clients and the guys and all the rest of it. So although it's been busy for me this year out in the field, it has been a bit diabolical. And then you can feel like we had a busy spell of 3 months and then you kind of get folk because it's Abdi's just it goes boom, but
aye.
then yeah, it's slowing again now. Um Definitely. And then we'll hear the Christmas boom again. Then you've got your usuals that's me wanting to work at Christmas
That's
and we've got
brilliant.
that
That
fall.
like, it's fucking horrible, this industry though as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what would you kind of suggest though to people that are wanting to get offshore? Like, what would you say? Like, what helps their cause apart from obviously having a trade and whatnot? Like, what more can they do?
Um, Definitely get yourself in touch with as many recruiters as you can on LinkedIn. Follow their pages, mark yourself known, get your CVs out there. Um, I believe that there's a greenhand program. If you were again doing the drilling side, I believe that there's a greenhand program with one of the bigger companies, type agency. Can't obviously say it online just now.
No.
If you Google it, I think that if you were interested in being like a roustabout, roughneck type role, I think that they can help you get into that. But it's literally just being on LinkedIn every day,
Mm,
haying that contacts, getting your CV out there. Um, if you're unsure about foot courses that you need to be doing, ask a recruiter. Drop me a message, and I can give you the information because the courses are expensive and there's no point in going and spending money on stuff that you're not going to need.
mm.
Like, do you know what I mean? But it is literally just keep pounding away on LinkedIn and haying that connections. It's
What?
difficult though.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say like I've seen more and more people kind of. I've had a few more messages from them, and it's quite difficult because you can only suggest so much in terms of. I suggest the LinkedIn thing. Agencies just
Mhm.
badger agencies till you're blue in the face. Um,
Mhm.
but the other side of the coin is if there's not that much work out there and there's not companies giving them opportunities is quite it's quite brutal. I think it's annoyed me the way the industry's gone a lot. I mean, the boom and
Mhm.
bust thing, that's something that's always been around. That's not going to go away anytime soon. But I think especially in the UK, we've been really, really hit by it, and
Mhm.
it's a bit sad as well. It is a bit sad the way that
Yeah.
things are going. And I think I'm hoping something changes in October when apparently old Miliband's thinking about potentially opening up a couple of licenses, but making it easier or something like that. But at the same time, I don't know how much he's really going to be allowed to do. But
Yeah.
like I say, we could go on about politics for ages. We'll avoid that. Um, the other side of it. what obviously dealing with some of these boys is difficult as well as brilliant. What nightmares have you had?
I've had a few nightmares. Yeah. At the moment, the big headache we've got at the moment is fake certs. That is causing a lot of strife. Yeah,
Really?
but I'm on to them. Oh, you've got no idea. You've no idea.
That's brilliant.
Literally, you've got no. Swear to
That's
God,
great.
it's if I hadn't got enough to do in a day than dealing with fake certs. That's one nightmare. I think probably my biggest nightmare was I had a contractor went offshore for one of our big clients, ace guy. I mean, if he watches this, he'll ken that I'm speaking about him. Really nice guy. Had him go offshore, got a call for a medivac, and I thought he was having a heart attack. Just a young guy. Yeah, it was squeaky bum time. He was quite ill and they couldn't get him back to the UK, so they flew him out of Norway. It was quicker to fly him out of Norway. And then obviously there was all the language barriers and he had to phone his wife and we didn't know if it was happening. And it was just, that was probably one of the worst things I've had to ever deal with offshore
Mm.
so far. Thankfully he was okay. But yeah, it was scary. It was super scary. Yeah, it was just, I just didn't ever want to hate to go through that again. And I'm sure he doesn't either. Thankfully he's okay now and he's back offshore, but that was a testing time. Like, obviously I dealt with the medivacs at the time at Granite, so it was just, yeah, trying to speak to guys in Norway that could not understand my very broad Scottish accent.
That would have been good.
It was no good. It was testing to say the least. But thank goodness he was okay. But yeah, I think that was probably one of the worst things I've had to deal with. That and this fake certs carry on right now. Aye.
What are they
Apparently
faking?
you can buy
Are they faking the balls yet?
MGIs.
Oh, MGI. Oh, okay.
MGIs. £200 for fake MGIs. We've had fake MGIs, fake NVQs, fake insurance. That's another thing. I don't understand these guys. Fake insurance, ad hoc contractors. Right? As an ad hoc contractor, when you go offshore as an ad hoc contractor, limited company contractor, you must have your insurances in place. Public liability, employers' liability. So what I've been finding lately is that these guys are taking out their insurance policy, getting their insurance policy, and then cancelling it a month later. But they've already got their paperwork to say
Mm.
they're insured. So they are going offshore to one of the most dangerous jobs known to man, uninsured.
Fucking hell.
That blows my mind. And do you know what? I get really annoyed about it. We obviously as a company, we have insurances that will cover guys to a certain degree, but as a
Yeah.
contractor, you have to have your own insurance, and that annoys me because they didn't think about the what ifs and the what nots. Like, what if something serious really happened out there? My
Yeah.
uncle was on an oil rig and was killed on an oil rig at 33 years old. So for me, it really touches him.
Yeah.
And it was a tragic accident. And I'm like, but if you go out there and you like lose a limb or something and you've got no insurance, how are you going to pay your mortgage and feed your kids and stuff? Like, so we've now got this nifty new feature that we're a payroll company that picks up on when these guys aren't insured. So literally, they get a phone call. You haven't got insurance. You'll need to insure. You sort your insurance out. Oh, I didn't ken. Fits happened there. Aye, you've paid it for a month and cancelled it. That's fits happened. So we didn't put them on unless they sort out their insurance. But that's another thing that's been blowing my mind lately.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Oh, crazy.
People are mad.
Honestly,
People are mad, are they?
it's shocking because there's so many things, as you can being on an asset, there's so many things that can go wrong just like that at the blink of an eye. then I just think, it's your duty to protect yourself, the people that you're working with around about you, but also your loved ones at home. Do you know what
Mm.
I mean? And
Yeah,
yeah, I could rant about this all day, by the way.
yeah. Sure you
I
can.
could-
Have you ever had abuse from boys that you sent away?
Aye.
Aye, a lot.
Yes. Oh, aye. Yes, aye. You sometimes do get abuse, but then I'm quite fiery and I will clap back. And
Mm.
normally the simmer doon. Yeah. Aye. No, some of them do get a bit abusive in messages, and I will generally be like, wind your neck in if you want me to find you more work. And they do. It's like a bit like mutual respect. I think some of them are a wee bit scared of me. They kind of need to push the
No,
boundaries, but you will
yeah, yeah.
get some that can be quite rude. And like I say, as I said before, treat me with respect, and I will give you so much respect back. But if you're really rude to me, then I'm just like, nah, I'm done. I'm done, because there's so many other guys I can use to fill these roles. Like, do you know what I mean? So
Aye.
I do.
It's not worth the
And
hassle.
some of them will cut quite low.
Mm.
I've got my WhatsApp groups, and I'm nae adverse to kicking folk out of the WhatsApp groups if they want to abide by the rules. Um, and the rules are simple. So in these WhatsApp groups, we've got WhatsApp groups for every trade. So you've got your riggers, your pipe fitters, platers, NDT techs, welders, that kind of stuff. And it's far we will advertise our jobs first before we go to LinkedIn. Simple rules in the group. Um, Only comment if you're available for work. Be respectful, and do not advertise other companies' roles within your group chats, because it's obviously for comic.
Yeah, yeah.
And I will remind the guys if they do that, like guys, because sometimes you'll put jobs in and they'll hear a moan about rates and stuff. Dinna shoot the messenger. This is the rate the client's giving us. Believe you me, if I could give you £50 an hour, I absolutely would, because not only would that benefit you, it would benefit me. But it is. So sometimes they'll hear a moan about that. There was one incident in the group which relates to that LinkedIn and Facebook post, by the way. And they started moaning about the rates, and I reminded them about the rules of the group. If you can't comply, then I'm going to remove you from the group, because I hadn't got time for this. I'm a busy lassie. They didn't comply and removed them from the group. One of them proceeded to then private message me, tell me that I was a dog. I thought I was better than everybody else. I was mutton dressed as lamb, all this kind of stuff in a message. And I was like, well, that's nice. Ouch. So, yeah. Aye, that's the kind of stuff that I get.
Aye, that's the way to get a job again, though, isn't it? Just
Exactly. So,
yeah, you'll get a job no bother like that.
I just put back a thumbs up and a laughing face. No bother, pal.
Some good ones
No
in there.
bother me. Oh, honestly. I think the thing that offended me the most was the mutton dressed as lamb. I was like, oh, well, I ain't had a bit of that had a nerve.
To be fair, that's
But
quite a good one,
literally,
though. I'll give him that.
aye. Ah, so honestly, so I do get abused. I've had some unwanted messages, unsolicited messages sent to my work phone as well. Like, you've no idea. I could write an absolute corker of a book with some of the stuff.
Yeah, just from the shite you get.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because to
Yeah.
be fair, like it's difficult because obviously I've worked for recruiters for a while, and I I I think at the end of the day, it's you're in the worst possible position in it. You're the middleman in between someone who's telling you what to do and someone who's telling you what to do, and well, not telling you what to do, but telling you what they want. And
Mm-hmm.
you've you've got to kind of find a balance between the two because one of them's paying you and the other one's work doing the work for you. And
Mm-hmm.
I do feel for recruiters sometimes. I do, and like don't get me wrong, they get a lot of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a good if you're a good recruiter, obviously you know you get your boys and stuff like you've got, and they kind of you kind of keep them busy and whatnot. But I think what do you think what do you think separates a good recruiter from a bad recruiter?
Um, for me, a good recruiter is somebody that knows their guys on a personal level. For me, when I am training up my recruiters, I expect them to, you know, have knowledge of where the guys are and what they're doing so that they know that if they're available for trips. I always ask my recruiters to keep in touch with the guys when they're offshore, just to make sure that they're okay, that their trip's going okay, do they need anything? And I think it's just being that bit more reachable. Like for me, it's never been about bums on seats. It's always been about the guys. Because at the end of the day, they're the same as us. We're all out here making money, trying to keep our families, roofs over their heads and all the rest of it. And there is a lot of recruiters out there. And I think again, they put into age and life experiences. For a lot of them, they're not caring. They just want to get the bums on the seats. That's not how I operate. That is not how I operate. And I mean, my team before me at Granite, they were all really young, but they took on the same qualities when it came to treating these guys with respect and keeping them right and keeping in touch with them. And they approached how they done things with what I taught them. And that's why they've went on to be absolutely cracking recruiters. And nobody ever had anything bad to say about them. As I was like, you know, if there was anybody was looking for work offshore, frequently we would hear, oh, like when I can find my next trip is, and the guys would, I was like, oh, give the folks of Granite a shout, or give Amy a shout, like at Camas, she'll get you work. And that's what you want, is you want folk to come and work for you because they can that you'll look after them. Because for me, it isn't just putting a bum in a seat. It is about looking after these guys. I mean, I've had some of my guys has had tragic things happen in their life. Just this last wee while, there's been there's been deaths, just been loads of stuff, and maybe not been able to go offshore, which is understandable. I was messaging them to check in with them to make sure that they're okay, even though they're not offshore. Yeah, right. Do you need somebody to speak to? Is there anything that I can do for you? And for me, that's nothing out the ordinary. That's the kind of person I am. But these guys appreciate that because they're not just a number. They understand that they're not just a number. They're not just a bum on a seat. And that appreciation for that, guys, goes a long way, I feel.
Do you think there's a lack of honesty in recruitment from other recruiters as well?
I don't Ken. It's difficult to say. Coming from me, I'm an open, honest book. We can only give the guys the information that we are given by the clients, right? So we can be told by the client, right, we've got a 3-week trip on the Fulmar, and that's fine. The email comes through with the rate and all the rest of it, right? This is fine, you've been mobilising, this is fine, you're demobbing. Then they'll go away, and then all of a sudden, oh no, they're coming home early.
Yeah,
And the guys are like,
it's brutal.
do you know what
I
I mean?
hate that. Yeah, I know.
Aye, yeah. So we can only give you the information that we are given by the clients. And then sometimes it can change at the drop of a hat. And the guys get annoyed with that. And I understand, because I would be annoyed as well, because you're planning out what you're going to do. You're planning when you're coming home. You're planning how much money you're going to have. Do you know what I mean? And I think we get the blame for a lot of that.
Yeah.
They think that we're lying to them just to get them offshore. And we're totally nae. Well, I ken that my queens I've trained up, they never done that. Some recruiters might do that just to get the guys offshore. I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else. But we try to be as honest as we can, and pass on the information that we're given. But again, because we're that middleman, we do get a lot of blame for stuff, and we're like, oh my God, there's nothing worse. Because I think these guys, they didn't understand how it works, with regards to the using an agency and they gone direct to a company. They seem to think that agencies take these massive cuts of money, and that we're not truthful about stuff. Like I've seen it all before, and it doesn't matter how many times we say it, right? I'll sit here and say it till I'm blue in the face. We didn't take big cuts of money. How it works, and I just want to explain this, and I hope that some of these guys watch this and understand. A job will come in, right? 3 weeks on the Fulmar. The rate is £36 an hour. £2 uplift for nights, say, right? We put our percentage on top of that. So we go back to the client with a rate, right? So the client says, right, the guy's getting £36 an hour, so we need the rate for you, which includes the guy's rate plus your percentage on the top, right? So we will go back with that rate, right? So the guy's getting their true rate with your percentage on the top. That's what the client pays. We didn't dip into their money, right? And then what'll happen is if the guys go direct with the company, they'll get a bit more. They get a bit more money because when these companies are bidding for the work offshore, the bid, right? We can do this job for X, Y, and Z. So there's only so much money in the pot. If you go direct with a client, you'll get a couple of quid more, say, because they didn't hate to pay the agency fees. But then you've got to wait 30 days to get paid if you go direct. Whereas if you go through agency, you'll get paid weekly.
All
But
right.
at the end of the day, the client is getting paid for that role has to be the same amount. They cannot put it up or down, right? There's only so much money in that pot. So if you go direct to that client, you'll get £2 more. But if you go with agency, you'll get £2 less. But then we put our markup on, so that marks it the same amount. If they like fit Archers, like say Archer or somebody like that marks out the same amount. Does that make sense? So these
Yeah.
guys are like, agencies rip us off. They did it, and we're like, no, wait, well, actually, didn't you just didn't understand how it works? And I've sat here till I'm blue in the face trying to fight my corner about this and being like, well, actually, didn't. And they just gave us a bad rep. You're just ripping us off. And I'm like, well, if you think that we're ripping you off, just dinna use us. It's no skin off my nose. I'll explain it to you till I'm blue in the face. You know what I mean? But the good thing with the agencies is we can go to other clients and we can try and get you a higher rate. Like, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I've totally forgot what I was even the point of my story was there because I just go on a tangent about it
No.
because it gets so irate.
No, you done well though, because fairness, you kind of explained it out. I'm sure there might be quite a few boys that might not think that, and you might get less slack now if they're listening. Like,
Well, I mean, either if they're unsure, just ask. I'm more than happy to explain it to anybody that wants to ken. But nah, the live is go on one about it. But yeah, that's how it works. Agency to client depends on how desperate you are for your money. If you want to do your job and wait 30 days to invoice, then cool. Like obviously you're managing your money great, but nobody does that and they need a weekly pay. So you have to
aye.
pick that £2 less. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is, isn't it? But then also we will keep you busy with our clients as well. So whatever.
How much has IR35 been a pain in the ass of you?
Um, no, really, to be
No?
honest with you. And no, I know that there's a lot of focus charging guys to do their IR35. Um, we used to help the guys with their IR35. If the guys is going out and doing like 6 consecutive trips with a client, they only need to do one IR35 for that trip as long as they're going to the same asset and all the rest of it. So that's fine. If they are going and doing different trips with different clients, they need a different IR35 every time. But before I was at Comic, I would literally be like, right, if you got 10 minutes, we'll run through your IR35, and we would obviously on the phone, we would speak through it. He would answer the questions, and it was easy, to be honest with you. I know that a lot of guys didn't like doing it, but it is a necessary evil.
Mm.
Now, I'm at Carmick. We've got a payroll company that does the IR35 with the guys free of charge. Because again, that some folk are charging 50, 60 quid to do it with the guys. Yeah. We don't. So come and work with us at Carmick.
How do you see the opportunities in the future now with oil and gas with the current kind of the way things are now?
Well, I'm ever hopeful. I'm ever hopeful that things are going to change. I do think they will. I do think they will. There's a lot of pressures being put on now because, as I said before, the wind was not ahan it was cracked up to be. It's nae teen off like it was supposed to. We've all these wind farms round about here generating power, and we've got nae way to store the power. Faz idea was that? Like, Faz idea was that? Do you know what I mean? So it's
Alright.
obviously something needs to be done. We've still got loads of oil in the North Sea, and I ken nobody likes Trump. I actually quite like Trump. And as he said to Starmer, start drilling. It's going to bring down the cost of the economy and all the rest of it. And I do think that there's a lot of pressure happening now. And I do think that we are going to be able to start drilling again. And I do think there's going to be more opportunities. The North Sea, the oil and gas has been here for so long now. And it's been the bread and butter for up in the northeast. I just cannot imagine that it's just going to end up decommissioned and it's just going to be no more. I cannot foresee that ever being a thing.
No,
I just cannot.
yeah. I don't know. I hope it's not the case. But it's one of them, is it? I think I worry a bit more now. I've seen obviously Total are started to get a bit panicky and they're looking into. I just hope that they were kind of pull their finger out and turn things around. And I don't know. I worry a little bit about the way that things are going to go. The other thing I worry about is the getting people to go offshore in the long run if they know that it might not be there for forever. That's the one. I think there's a couple of things I could go on for ages though about it. But I hope it changes. They need to pull their finger out.
Yeah, I think that we need to be optimistic about it. I think Total and that are playing it safe, quite rightly so.
Yeah.
But if it all kicks off again and it all booms again, they'll be right in the thick of it. There'll be jobs everywhere. There'll be oil everywhere. I think that they're playing the safe cards, and quite rightly so. Quite rightly so, because it is a bit uncertain. And but I do think that we need to be optimistic about the health situation. Well, I am anyway. I'd like to be in oil gas for a few more years yet.
Exactly. Exactly. Positivity is key. Can't all be doom and gloom. There's enough of that on social media nowadays.
Exactly.
I ask everyone that comes on a question at the end. I've changed it from what it was before because it was just the same answer every time, so I got bored. But what is the proudest moment of your career that you can look back on?
Yeah, I think for me it's just being, I've literally climbed up the ladder quick, very, very quick. I went from being an admin to a manager in 3.5 years just by being me. By being me, by winging it, and being a compassionate person and trying to make a difference in this industry. And for me as well, a lot of folk in this industry came out. If you mention the name Amy Archibald Abdies, I was like, oh, that's that lassie that does the videos, the recruiter. Go work for her. She'll get you a job. There's never a greater feeling than that. And all I've done is be myself and been a bit caring and got guys' jobs offshore. And I've had a blast doing it as well. And that's like, I couldn't ask for any more. Do you know what I mean? It's been easy, it's been fun, and I've enjoyed every second of it. The sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned. But literally that's been the proudest thing ever, is far I've gotten to myself. Far I've gotten myself such a short space of time. But nobody doing anything different than just being myself.
I'm fair play to you.
Who knew?
I'm fair play to you. Exactly. But no, thanks so much for coming on. I think, like I say, I'm trying to do a couple of more podcasts with recruiters just because I think there is people that want to go out there and they've asked where do you start and stuff like that. So I hope they take your messages, your points on board, and I'm sure you'll get a barrage of messages from them as well. But I really appreciate you coming on, especially at this time of night as well.
Hey, brother. It's been good fun.
Good.